Hello and welcome. This was meant to be Tuesday's video, but we're doing it now. Today, this is another episode of state governments and officials. For this one, we are looking at the state of New Jersey. And yeah, so let's hop in here. State of New Jersey, also known as the Garden State. You can see where it sits here. The south end curving around Pennsylvania and tipping Delaware, while the north end borders New York, very close to New York City. In fact, it's so close that technically the Statue of Liberty is in New Jersey waters. I think that is what they have always talked about. It's closer to New Jersey than it is actually New York City. But yeah. Your capital of New Jersey is Trenton, but the largest city is Newark. So yeah. Now, let's dig in here to the information on Wikipedia. State bordered by both the state located in both the Mid-Atlantic and northeastern regions of the U.S., located in the geographic hub of the heavily urbanized northeast megalopolis. Because, like I said, it's right around that New York City. It's got Newark in that top area. So many urban areas. So, it is bordered to the northwest, north, and northeast by New York State, on its east, southeast, and south by the Atlantic Ocean, on its west by the Delaware River in Pennsylvania, and on its southwest by Delaware Bay and Delaware. It is the fifth smallest state in terms of land area size, and according to the 2024 U.S. Census Bureau estimate, it is the 11th most populous state. So high population density, not over 9.5 million residents, and we talked about Trenton, Newark. It is the only U.S. state in which every county is deemed urban by the U.S. Census Bureau, and is the most densely populated U.S. state. So remember, it's the fifth smallest. Only 4 states are smaller. But it is the 11th most populous. Only 10 states have more citizens. So yeah. Heavily populated, and where it's so small but has so many citizens, it's technically every county in the state is deemed urban. So yeah. And it is one of the original 13 colonies, as you can see by the name, New Jersey, named after the Isle of Jersey in England. So, yeah. Let's see. The current constitution it works with went into effect in 1948, January 1st. But clearly, it didn't just gain its first constitution in 1948. The state has been governed by 3 constitutions. The first July 2nd, 1776, shortly before it ratified the U.S. Declaration of Independence, the second in 1844. And finally, we have the current one from 1947. So, pretty much one per century. But yeah. Founding state, one of the original 13 colonies. Well known to been a big part of the revolution. With this, let's go ahead and look at the government of New Jersey. Bicameral legislature. You have the executive branch led by Governor Phil Murphy and Lieutenant Governor, I forgot her name already, but yeah, they're the only elected members of the executive branch. There are still like Secretary of State and Attorney General and all that, but they're appointed, they're not elected. And then of course the judicial branch. But with that, let's look at this executive branch. Your governor of New Jersey is Phil Murphy. He is the current governor. Heads the executive branch, serves 4-year terms, cannot be elected more than twice consecutively, but no limit on the number of total terms they may serve. So, you can be elected twice in a row, but you have to put off. The official residence for the governor is Drumthwacket. In Princeton, New Jersey. So it's not in the capital city of Trenton, nor is it in the largest city of Newark. Interesting. So yeah, the governor is responsible for appointing 2 constitutionally created officers: the New Jersey Attorney General and the Secretary of State. So the governor appoints them, but they have to be approved by the Senate. So they're not elected by the people. But yeah, there's a picture of New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, your current governor. There's also the Lieutenant Governor. There she is, Tahesha Way. She is their 3rd modern Lieutenant Governor because, yeah, the Lieutenant Governor in New Jersey was just recently established. So, yeah. But she is also Secretary of State, having been appointed on September 18th, 2020, or September 8th, 2023, to fill the role. So she actually does double work. So that's interesting. They cannot serve as Attorney General. But they are head of a cabinet level. State constitution requires the lieutenant governor to be appointed to serve as the head of a cabinet level department or administrative agency with the governor's administration. So, okay. But they just can't serve as attorney general. Interesting. Prior to 2010, New Jersey was one of the few states who did not have a lieutenant governor. For most of the state and previously the colony's history, a vacancy in the possession of governor was filled by the president of the state senate, called the legislative council. So yeah, I don't think they have the legislative council anymore, but yeah. So, but early in New Jersey's history, yeah, legislative council, the president of the state senate for the legislative council, would take over until the new governor was elected. And we'll see it a number of times when we look at the governor's list. Republican Kim Guadagno was the first to serve in the post in its modern form. She was chosen by Chris Christie to be his running mate on the Republican Party ticket in 2009. So, yeah. So, rather new position for New Jersey, that lieutenant governor. And then, of course, the Constitution provides the governor appoint the heads of up to 20 principal departments. As of 2024, the state's executive branch has 15 cabinet level or principal departments. There's a number of them here, so yeah. But that is Wikipedia talking about the executive branch. With that, let's go ahead and dig into the state level information here. Your governor, Bill Murphy, and your lieutenant governor, Tahesha Way, Esquire. She's not only lieutenant governor, but secretary of state as well, so. And your governor's, the New Jersey cabinet, leading the State Department, where she's secretary of state and lieutenant governor, Tahesha Way. Your secretary for the Department of Agriculture, Ed Wingren. Commissioner of the Department of Banking and Insurance, Justin Zimmerman. Your president for the Board of Public Utilities, Christine Gould-Sotheby. Your commissioner for the Department of Children and Families, Christine Norbert Beyer. Your chair and chief executive officer of the Child Service Commission, Allison Chris Myers. Commissioner for the Department of Community Affairs, Jacqueline A. Suarez. Acting Comptroller for the Office of State Comptroller, Kevin Walsh. Commissioner for the Department of Corrections, Victoria Kuhn. Chief Executive Officer for the Economic Development Authority, Mary Maples. Commissioner for the Department of Education, Kevin Damer. Commissioner for the Department of Environmental Protection, Sean LaTourette. Acting Commissioner for the Department of Health, Jeff Brown. Acting Secretary for the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education, Angela Bethea. Sounds like a lot of repetitive stuff in there, but anyway. Director for the Homeland Security Office, or Office of Homeland Security, Lori Duran. Commissioner for the Department of Human Services, Sarah Edelman. Chief Technology Officer for the Office of Information Technology, Christopher J. Rain. Chief Executive Officer for the Office of Innovation, Dave Coe. The Commissioner for Labor and Workforce Development, or Department of Labor and Workforce Development, Robert Asaro Angelo. Attorney General, who's the head of the Department of Law and Public Safety, Matt Platkin. Your President and CEO for the New Jersey Maternal and Infant Health Innovation Authority, Lisa Asare. Adjutant General and Commissioner for the Military and Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, Brigadier General Yvonne L. Mays. Acting Chair and Chief Administrator for the Motor Vehicle Commission, Latricia Littles Floyd. Acting Superintendent for the New Jersey State Police, Colonel David Sirotowicz. State Treasurer for the Department of the Treasury, Elizabeth Muoio. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And Commissioner for the Department of Transportation, Francis K. O'Connor. But yeah, that's a look at the executive department. For the most part, we still have to look at the history list of New Jersey governors. Since they were one of the original 13 colonies, they don't have it as a territory. So yeah. But they do, of course, have the list when it was an early state. To begin with, early in the state's history, apparently your terms were only 1 year. So yeah. That's why this guy was in there so long, 1776, 1790. It's because he won so many terms, back to back to back to back to back. William Livingston, American politician, lawyer, first governor of New Jersey, which he served in the position during the American Revolution, was a representative of New Jersey in the Continental Congress and signed the Continental Association and the United States. I would say Declaration of Independence or something like that. But yeah. Now, this is your first one that was part of that legislative council. Because, see, he's only in there a handful of months. because your first governor passed away while still in office. He was followed up by the election of William Patterson, who was a American statesman, lawyer, jurist, signer of the U.S. Constitution, one of the associate justices for the United States Supreme Court, second governor of New Jersey. So your first two that were elected, Livingston, Patterson, hugely influential. Lawrence, New Jersey Legislative Council, more inside New Jersey, but yeah. Thomas Henderson was a representative of New Jersey in, I guess, in the U.S. Congress. Was acting governor of New Jersey through the Legislative Council, and was a lieutenant colonel in the Continental Army and prominent doctor in Monmouth County, New Jersey. So yeah, he again, Legislative Council assigned him. Then you get your third elected governor, Richard Howe. Not a lot we have on him right away, just looking at it. So, number 4, the election we get is Joseph Bloomfield, 5th governor, 2 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives. So, yeah. Then that's followed up by John Lambert, who, again, Legislative Council set him in place. Besides being an acting governor, he was a U.S. representative and senator for New Jersey. So, John Lambert. We get Bloomfield again. He's in there for a while. Then we get Aaron Ogden, your 5th elected governor. Soldier, lawyer, U.S. Senator, 5th governor of New Jersey. And his name is the one in one of the most famous U.S. cases in early American history, Gibbons versus Ogden. Yeah. Number 6, William Sanford Pennington, U.S. Attorney, Associate Justice on the New Jersey Supreme Court, 6th Governor of New Jersey. So, yeah, and a U.S. District Judge for the U.S. District Court of New Jersey. Did a lot of jurist work. So, yeah. He resigned in 1815. Legislative Council assigns another person to follow up in office for a few months. Not a whole lot we know about him. Then you get your 7th elected governor, Mahlon Dickerson, Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court, 7th governor, U.S. Senator from New Jersey, 10th United States Secretary of the Navy, and District Judge of the U.S. for the District of New Jersey. So, yeah. Then Isaac Halstead Williamson, 8th governor, lawyer, jurist. Garrett D. Wall, military officer, senator, and governor. So, yeah, he was assigned by the Legislative Council. Your ninth elected governor of New Jersey. He was governor, the ninth governor, member of the U.S. House of Representatives for one term. So, yeah. And then at number 10, Samuel L. Southard. U.S. Senator, Secretary of the Navy, 10th Governor of New Jersey, and President pro tempore of the Senate. And was briefly first in the presidential line of succession. So, yeah. But he served not even a full year before resigning. That ended up with the election of Elias P. Seeley, 11th governor, Whig politician. And then Peter Dumont Broom was elected. Broom was back. Former U.S. representative, governor. So, yeah, he serves twice like that. Then he was followed up by Philemon Dickerson, the 12th governor of New Jersey, judge on U.S. District Court for District of New Jersey. William Pennington, politician, lawyer, 13th governor of New Jersey, one term in the U.S. House of Representatives, and was the first Republican Speaker of the House. So, yeah. Remember, Republicans don't exist until into, I think it's the 1850s. They come about just before the Civil War. So, yeah. He was the first Speaker of the House that was Republican. So, interesting. But Daniel Haynes, anything interesting about him? 14th governor in non-consecutive terms in office. As you can see from the upcoming picture there. So, yeah. And at number 15, Charles C. Stratton. Farmer, politician, 15th governor, and was elected following the adoption of the 1844 New Jersey Constitution. So, yeah, history of a list of governors. Some pretty interesting names in there, especially early on. Just important names in American history. With all this, let's go ahead and look at the New Jersey legislature. Bicameral body, 2 houses. Upper house is the Senate. The lower house is called the General Assembly, which is rare, but we have seen it before. In the Senate, we have 40 members, 25 of whom are Democrat, 15 are Republican. So it leans Democrat in the Senate. In the House, you have 80 members, 52 who are Democrat, and 28 who are Republican. Leans even more Democrat. So, yeah. Let's see. how the seats are organized for the General Assembly. Yeah, 2021 redistricting. The legislature has the power to enact laws by majority vote in both houses, subject to the governor's ability to veto a bill. Veto can be overridden, though, by the legislature if there is a two-thirds majority in favor of overriding in each house. The legislature may propose an amendment to the Constitution with a 3/5 vote of each house, and may propose an amendment by majority vote 2 straight years. So remember, majority, I think we're just talking about a plain 51-49. In either case, the amendment is placed on the ballot and must be approved in a referendum vote by the people to become a part of the New Jersey Constitution. The legislature is also empowered to ratify amendments to the Constitution, appoint the state auditor, judge the elections and qualifications of its members, and institute and conduct impeachment proceedings. The Senate has the sole authority to confirm or reject gubernatorial nominees for judicial and some executive positions. Qualifications. The legislature member to become a member of the assembly, the lower house, they must be at least 21 years of age, have resided in the district for 1 year and the state for 2, and must live in the district they represent. To become a senator, they must be 30 years of age, have lived in their district for 2 years, and the state for 4, and again, must live in the represented district. Assembly members serve 2-year terms, while senators serve 4-year terms, except in the first term of a new decade, which only lasts 2 years. So, new decade, Senate member serves 2 years, and then it's a 4-year term, 4-year term. Interesting. I don't think I've seen something like that in any of the other states yet. Huh. It's so they can reflect changes made to district boundaries following the U.S. Census. So it's better, more, quicker, more aligned to the census boundaries when they're redrawn. Interesting. Now, the judiciary, the courts of New Jersey, you have your New Jersey Supreme Court, has a Chief Justice, 6 Associate Justices, all appointed by the governor with advice and consent of the majority of the membership of the state Senate. Justices serve an initial 7-year term and then can be reappointed to serve until age 70. The Superior Court Appellate Division functions as the state's intermediate appellate court. The judges are assigned to the appellate division by the Chief Justice. Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, They don't really say. Some serious criminal cases and civil cases, except tax matters, are handled by the Superior Court for each county. All Superior Court judges are appointed by the governor with the advice and consent of the Senate. Judges serve an initial 7-year term and reappointed until the age of 70. New Jersey's judiciary is unusual in that it still has separate courts of law and equity, unlike Delaware, or like its neighbor Delaware, but unlike most other states. So, yeah, the Superior Court is divided into law and chancery divisions at the trial level. So, yeah. Chancery Division is granted the power to award money damages when appropriate in an action primarily for equitable relief, and the Law Division is granted the power to order limited equitable relief in a suit primarily for money damages, unlike their Delaware counterparts. Domestic relations matters such as divorce, child custody, and domestic violence restraining order cases are heard in a subdivision of the Chancery Division named the Family Part. You have municipal courts, day-to-day work in New Jersey courts by hearing simple traffic tickets, minor criminal offenses, issue emergency temporary restraining orders in domestic violence cases when the Superior Court is closed, typically in conjunction with a criminal report or in an incident by police. They are considered courts of limited jurisdiction, responsible for handling motor vehicle and parking tickets, minor criminal offenses and violations, for example, simple assault or bad checks, municipal ordinance offenses such as dog barking or building code violations, and other offenses such as fish and game violations. So yeah, a lot of your day-to-day, what many would consider minor issues, they have a municipal court has jurisdiction only over these cases that occur within the boundaries of its municipality. Many serious criminal cases such as robbery, auto theft, or assault start out as complaints filed in the municipal court. However, those cases are then transferred to the Superior Courts at the county courthouse. And then tax court. Court of limited jurisdiction. Here's appeals of tax decisions made by the County Board of Taxation. Also hear appeals on decisions made by the Director of the Division of Taxation on such matters as state income, sales and business tax, and homestead rebates. Appeals from tax court decisions are heard in the Appellate Division of the Superior Court. Tax court judges are appointed by the governor for initial terms of 7 years, and upon reappointment are granted tenure until they reach the age of 70. There are 12 tax court judgeships. So a general look at the courts. Let's look at the Supreme Court. 7 years until 70 years of age. Under Article 6 of the state constitution, judicial power shall be vested in a Supreme Court, a Superior Court, and other courts of limited jurisdiction. This is the Superior Court, sorry, not the Supreme Court. So, yeah. Superior Court has 3 divisions: law for main trial, court of cases of civil or criminal law, the Chancery Division, which tries equity law cases, and the Appellate Division, which is the Intermediate Appellate Court of New Jersey. The various superior courts in New Jersey are divided into 15 districts called vicinages. Even though after reaching mandatory retirement, state law allows judges to still serve on part-time recall. So, yeah. Altogether, there are about 460 Superior Court justices. That brings us to the Superior Court Appellate Division, which is the appellate court. Because we've seen a number of states, quite a few actually, that have appellate intermediates, so that cases don't go all flood straight into the Supreme Court. But yeah. And the New Jersey Supreme Court. Looks like it's located in Trenton. If there is an appeal beyond, it goes to the U.S. Supreme Court, but only on questions of federal constitutional or statutory law only. Under the current Constitution, the highest court in the state, the Supreme Court, does not have original jurisdiction. We've seen some have a little bit of original jurisdiction. Instead, it hears appeals, oversees the state's court system, and regulates the legal profession within the state, which we see that a lot in other states as well, where the Supreme Court kind of runs everything. To be a member of the Supreme Court, or let's see, a statute provides that a case may go to the Supreme Court or if it meets one of the 5 following requirements. Case involves a question of constitutionality, a right if an appellate judge dissented from that court's ruling, if it was the right of that appellate judge, formally as a right of the case involved capital punishment, which now there's no longer capital punishment in New Jersey, and at the Supreme Court's discretion when the Supreme Court grants certification, and finally, by operation of law, if the case involves the drawing of political boundaries. Oh, goodness, excuse me. Your current makeup of the court: Chief Justice Stuart Rabner, with Associate Justices Ann M. Patterson, Fabiana Pierre-Louis, Rachel Weiner Apter, Douglas M. Faciel, Michael Noriega, John J. Hoffman. And then we look at a number of important cases. Individual rights. Social and political cases. But yeah. That will go ahead and end this episode. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. I don't know. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.